Hi guys, and welcome back. So what I'm doing is a repair on a keyboard for a Yamaha MSX computer. This is one of the machines I tried to repair a while ago with the pen traces, as you can see on here, and we found it was to do with the copper or the filament type stuff that they put on this. It was failing. So what I decided to do is I decided to get some self-adhesive copper track. This is for repairing circuit boards, etc. And it comes in different thicknesses. This is a 3mm one. And then I also got a 5, but the 5 is too thick. So I think the 3 will be more to what we want. I could have probably gone with the next one down from that, which I think is a 2mm one. I was just a wee bit worried about the thickness of it. So looking at this, I think the 3 we may get away with. I probably could have gone thinner. The other thing is, because these are only short lengths of copper that's going across, because what I'll do is it'll go across, then to connect the ends I'll use the ink pen to connect the carbon to the tracks. I mean, I could have played around with trying to get it to work the other way around, but when I had a look at these, a lot of these were broken off on the carbon and on here, and whether I could get them to work or not was another thing. They also have plastic over the top of them, so. But what I'm going to do is I'll put the copper down. I may have to, as I said, they're short, so I may have to cut them, and if I have to cut them, then I'll cut them a bit thinner. And as I said, I'm just going to reconnect them with the graphite pen at the end. So, but anyway, we will carry on, and I will see how I go with this, and hopefully wish me well, and that we can get this all working fine. If we have everything working fine, I can put it back together, and it can go back to the customers. Hopefully, this is going to do what we want it to do. Fingers crossed. Hey guys, that's about the length that I had to use to redo all those copper tracks, so I would say it's probably about 300mm or 12 inches. There's still miles and miles of it left on this this reel of tape, so these would last you for ages if you got some of this for doing track repair work and that, and as you can see I had to cut about 1mm off, so the 2mm would have been a better one for me to get, but the thing is I have this thicker, wider track and I have the 5mm one, wider one. I may get the thinner one at a later date, but this worked out really well, and I could cut it down to the size I needed. So what I will do now is I'll go through and just clean up all the ends, and then I will put the conductive pin over the ends of that, and I'll just put this back in its packet so it doesn't unravel all over the bench on me. So yeah, this is a lot. The stuff they have on this plastic is a lot thinner, and they put like tape on both sides of it when they've stuck it down. It's a lot thinner than the copper I put on there. Whether it is a copper foil or not, I don't know, but that's both of those done. And the thing is that they're not on this copper backing sheet now, because of the adhesive on this. It'll insulate it from these other ones. So this is doing the same thing, and it's not going to be moving, which is causing it to crack, which I think is the problem. So we'll move that out of the way, and what I'll do is I'll get cotton buds and some isopropyl, and these are the conductive pins I got a while ago. You'll see it on the keyboard when I first went to do the keyboard repair on this in the Yamaha videos. These are the same conductive pins that I've got here, so I'm going to use those for joining the ends on. And then of course the new multimeter, new Aneng multimeter, I'll use that to check the continuity in them. So I'll get on and do that. Right, hopefully you can see that I've metered those and they all come out. I'll bring this up a bit closer for you. And you can see the copper, the darker parts of the copper strips that I've put on there. The sort of more lighter copperish areas are the copper pin. Now, when it dries, it's like a rubberized type of glue sort of stuff once it dries from the alcohol that's in it. I was getting connections from the copper pin to the copper pin, not the actual copper strips. So all that stuff seems to be working fine. I'm hoping that's fixed all these issues, and I've just got to clean up some of the goo that was around these that stuck the top down to the bottom, so it doesn't sort of muck up any of the contacts. But I mean, you can see how much nicer job that is with it, with the foil and that, then when I had all the plastic tape over the top of it originally. So I'm thinking this is going to fix our problem with the tracks and that on the keyboard. I will now just give the pads a little bit of a clean up, and then I'll look at putting the top back on it and adhering it back down. And what I'll do is I'll then check all the connections on here on the end of the connector, and if that's all good, then I'll put the keyboard back together and it should work fine. Alright, so I will clean this mess up and get me a bit more room back, and we'll carry on with it. Okay, so I've given it a quick clean over, or just a quick wipe with a dry cotton bud, just to get any dust or anything off any of the tracks or anything, and to make sure there's nothing sitting on any of the carbon. Now when you put these together, the thing is, you've got to remember they don't line up 100%. So if I put this one over to where it should line up, you'll notice that some of the spots where you push down and hit the pins underneath, it doesn't line up 100%. That's fine, they were never made 100% spot on. So what I will do is, normally when I would put this back on, what I do is I usually get a little bit of, you can get them from the Asian shops or from the chemist or that, a little bit of the glue they use for putting false eyelashes on. That it's like a PVA glue, a very, very thin glue. And what you do is just put a few little dabs around, something that doesn't dry straight away, just a couple little dabs in places where it's not going to make an issue, and then put it down, put some weight on it to let it set. The reason you use that is if you have to take it off, you're not going to tear the membrane. That will make it easier if you do actually ever have to pull it off. But I'm just going to use a little bit of clear tape just to go on the edges for now, just to make sure it's all together and fine. I will get some glue and glue it down later on. I actually think it looks a lot cooler with the copper showing through rather than it did with the silver. But you don't see that anyway when the keyboard's all back together. But I just think it looks quite cool like that. What I will do now is tape up around the corner so this will all sit flat. And then I will put it back on the keyboard frame. And then we'll try the keys and seeing if the connections go all the way through. Okay, so I'm going to have to put it back onto the lid because there are diodes. There are diodes inset into this which have to go across traces, so I'm not going to pick anything up otherwise. This will have to go back onto the back. unfortunately, so I'm going to have to get and do that. As I say, all this is covered in the first one when I did it, and putting the back on and everything like that, so you can see that in the other video I did, so I'll just go ahead and pop this one back on. Okay guys, so I've got it all screwed back together now, and I thought rather than mucking around trying to work out what ones of these goes to which, I might as well just plug it back into the machine and try it out on the machine and see if it works. So I think that's going to be my next option. I'll do that. I'll plug it all, get the machine down, stick it all down here, plug it all back in, and see if it fires up. Now this machine, I can't show you it working because it has an issue with the video side of it. It works fine if I put the HDMI unit in it, but if I put a standard VDP into it, I get nothing out on the screen. So, and I've metered it from the chip to the output, and there doesn't seem to be much wrong there. So I wonder if it's further internal into the machine, and I haven't tracked down that part of it. But this will give me an idea whether this keyboard's fixed or not. If it is fixed, I think then I can have a look further into the MSX to see what the story is there. I also have a second FM sound module for it for keyboards that I got given with it, as in the earlier videos. It doesn't work. Someone had a go at trying to mod it a while back, and I think they've damaged some of the tracks where the ROM goes in, so it may be one that I'm going to have to look at repairing. I didn't put a lot of time into it because it wasn't important at that stage, but the other one is done and working fine, so it's just a matter of getting this machine back up and running. The chap said he's never really had this machine running from when he got it, so he doesn't know if it was working properly or not. When I first received the machine, it had a black and white picture only, and it's a power machine, so it should have been colour. So there sounds like there was an issue with the machine from the word go. And if you go back over the old videos on the Yamaha MSX in the video clips, you'll see that I've fought problem after problem after problem with the machine. Hopefully this fixes the keyboard part, and then we can go on from there. Alright. So I will get all the other bits out, stick them all down, stick it all back together, and fire up and see if it actually works. See how we go. Okay guys, so here's the Yamaha CX5M that I've been fixing up in that, and I've done the keyboard and it's working perfectly. There was an issue. I found the U key wasn't working. Everything else was working fine. So I opened it up and I gently tweaked the pins and took it out, and inside the keyboards on these top keys, they have two springs in them. There's a center spring and an outer spring. The outer spring is what makes it bounce up and down, like these ones do. The center spring is a lot harder, and what that does is it pushes down on the membrane to push the other piece together to make contact. And so what was happening is I was pushing the U, nothing was happening because the center spring was missing. Now whether that was me or whether it was missing originally, the owner of this machine said to me that he doesn't know any history about it, and he bought it as a lot with the cards. And looking at the second card I'm doing, which I will get into a little bit later, someone's had to play around with stuff. So whether it was missing originally, I don't know. So I put it in there. It's stiffer than the others, but it works fine now. So just one thing to be wary of, when you put the keyboards back together, if you take them apart to clean them, make sure there's dual springs in each one, and there's a smaller one and a bigger one. Just be sure of that. So anyway, guys, this is all working fine now with the version 5 ROM in it, and what I will do is I will boot it up so you can see all of that. Here we go. We're going to turn the unit on. And there we are. So this is running through HDMI, as you can see. So here we come up, and there you go. So that's the version 05 ROM that's running off the SFG card, off the synth card. So it's way better than the 01 ROMs that they used to run. Twice as big a ROM, so there should be a lot better graphics and so forth in it. I will put in a cartridge that I had to show you that the cartridge port is working fine. This is the one I was testing the graphics on. Now this is the Moppy Ranger, which is a Konami cartridge. So I'll just turn this on so you can see it. There we go, Konami software. Moppy Ranger. There is no audio with this because I've left it with the audio out on the back. And it means I've got to run it through a separate monitor just to get the audio. He's not going to use that anyway. He wants to use the synth audio on it, so he's not going to use the onboard stuff. So I didn't put it through the HDMI, so it was just less mucking around in wires. That's where I'm up to, so now what we'll do is we'll switch back over and finish off, shall we? Well guys, there you go. I've finally finished the MSX CX5M. So that's all done now. The keyboard, the internals, the power supply. It's got the HDMI in it because he has another one of these CX5s that's running as standard fine. This one was an unknown when he got it, so he's quite happy to go with HDMI, so I didn't need to go any further into repairing the video side of it, as it's working fine, as you saw. He's happy now. We've got the SFG to a version 5 working fine, as you saw also. So everything on this is ticked off and pretty much done now. The only thing I'm doing is still working on the second unit, and I need to hang on to the MSX until I've repaired that unit. And they turned up today, the chip that was overheating on the second one. So I'm going to get into doing that, and as I say, that'll be on another video. Hopefully you guys have found this interesting and information in here that you may not have known or forgotten or were quite interested in knowing. If there's anything, as I say, let me know in the comments below, or get a hold of me via Facebook or any of the other ways, and I'll get back to you and we can sort out what I might be able to help you with if I have anything I can do to help you out, information or parts or stuff like that. If you like it, please like the videos. It does help me. If you haven't already and you would like to, you're more than welcome to subscribe. I do put links onto a couple of other YouTube channels through friends that I know that do YouTube videos, and some of them have been going for quite a few years. So if you'd like to look at more information on vintage gear and games and stuff, check them out. They make some really awesome videos. So guys, this is coming up to the end of this one. The only time you may see more about the Yamaha will be doing that second FSG unit. But other than that, this one's finished, and doing the keyboard the second time with the copper has worked miracles. It was really, really good. way better than the first way with just using tape and using the copper trace pens, the contact ink pens. So it was a lot better doing it with the self-adhesive copper tracks. Anyway, that's enough from me for now and prattling on. So what I will do is I will sign off and say, guys, keep safe out there, and until next time, ciao.